All right, we always begin by giving credit to our videographer, and who is it, Coach?
Senior forward Owen Fredericks. Owen comes off the bench for us. He's our sixth man. He's been great the last 5 games. He's averaging double digits. Have a guy scoring 10 points a game coming off the bench is huge. He's really a class act kid. He never complains about anything. Never complains about playing time. Never argues. Always has a good attitude, and I'm glad to have him here.
Well, the last guy that shot the video, Mr. Pease, dropped in 36 against a very good basketball team. Talk about that.
So hopefully filming these videos, it rubs off a little bit on Owen, and Owen drops in 36 tonight against tomorrow night against Liverpool. But no, good showing by Cohen against Canfield. He had the hot hand early, and the guys recognized that, it wasn't one of those things where it was, playing against each other. The kids realized that Cohen had the hot hand, and then they fed him the ball, and he just kept pouring them in.
All right, another really cool note. Geometry teacher, assistant Andy Miller, been here for a while, United local, lives out in Lisbon. One of his places that he likes to hang out was good to me many years ago, time and time again, Pondy. So to all of my friends that are still a part of that brand, I think about you often, and it truly is an incredible place to wine and dine. And I understand now they have a little market there too, which is really cool. Before we talk about this game against Canfield, and you got to stop getting down by so many points, 18 points, but then you got back within 4, but we'll get to that in a moment. So I came in town a little bit earlier, and this has always been my favorite time of year in East Liverpool. Post-holidays, wintertime, no better place to be. Tomorrow night, Beaver Local. Wish I could be a part of it. I wish I was behind a microphone. I wish the radio station was still here. But I just wanted to take time on behalf of all of the people that have been a part of my life in this community. Well, almost 45 years to be exact. Some sadly no longer here, and the buildings are still in downtown East Liverpool. They're doing a lot of incredible things. The mayor really trying to light the lamp again. It still looks as special as ever. I wish some of my friends could be with me now, but I know they're with me in spirit. And to all of the people that I've been meeting along the way in recent years, new people like Coach Reynolds and others, I'm a blessed man to be in East Liverpool. So a happy and blessed new year for all of you. Now, so Peasy has 36, but they had multiple players in double figures. There were 25 3-point shots between both of these teams. You guys kind of had the upper hand. But man, this is a good basketball team. As you said, Final Four type of team. This is a team beat Ursuline, maybe the toughest team you're going to face till you get to the district finals. Talk about that basketball team. And this young man, Ben Weaver, led the way with 18 points for them. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a great basketball game. It was a great atmosphere. The place was packed. I mean, there probably wasn't a handful of seats open. Canfield's great. They're really well coached. They're very, very fundamental. They're very physical. We got down a little bit early, and man, the kids responded like they have all year. They punched Canfield back, and we got it to single digits. But it just seemed like every time we got it to 2 or 3, Canfield would hit a big 3 or 2 big threes or a big layup. So it was a good test for us, though. It was good to see where we were. That's a district final type team. I think that team's going to be in the district finals in the West, and hopefully we're in the district finals in the East. But I was glad to see, how we responded to that type of game, that type of atmosphere. It got to 18 points in the third quarter, and our guys easily could have rolled over and just died right there. But again, they showed that same resilience they have all year. They bounced back and cut it to 4. I think we had a good comeback coming. We just ran out of time.
You're working on, you want them and more teams like them moving forward. I heard you and Coach Miller just talking about the future and mentioning certain teams. But this is a team you got on the schedule next year, and you think this is important to take on this type of talent, especially in coming up though with the playoffs, right? Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like guys like Owen and Cohen and Q and my senior group, obviously I'm losing 8 seniors, but that game against Canfield was good for them for this year, but it's also good for all those young guys that, fill those bench spots because they got to see that atmosphere. Dre Brown got to see what that atmosphere is like. He got to see how intense those games are, how physical those games are. So even though those guys might not have got to play a role actually in playing in the game, they got to feel that atmosphere and kind of see, what that pressure and what that's like. And that's huge for us going forward because we need to keep playing teams like that because it's only going to make us better.
Why is it, do you think, and this is just a thought process, I've been around this game forever, and I was talking to a couple of coaches yesterday on my radio show that are going to be a part of our Power of Bowser Friday night matchup. Coach Ackerman, who's won a state title at Moon, successful at Pine Richland, now with Baldwin, they're undefeated at 9-0. And we were just talking about size, and their tallest players like 6'5". And I started looking around and adding some numbers up. There's really not a lot of size anymore in high school basketball. I mean, if you can get a player 6'5", 6'6", That's about as good as it gets. Why do you think there's not that much size?
Something in the water must be.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. And obviously, I mean, it's been our kryptonite. You know, our two losses. St. Clairsville has a tall, 6'6", 6'5", 6'6" kid, and then
Who's the tallest player on your team?
I'd have to say Deshaun Kirby, probably a big 6'4" or a short 6'5", but that's been our kryptonite. It's just his size. I mean, we start Blake Atkins at the 4, and I mean, Blake on his tiptoes is probably 5'11". He plays a lot bigger than he is, but we don't have a lot of size either. So that's definitely, I don't want to say it's a dying breed, but it definitely in our area for sure. There's not a lot of size right now.
I mean, when I was doing Potter play-by-play, you kind of a City League school would roll in, or you'd go to like a Cambridge or whatever, and every once in a while you'd be out of your comfort zone and you'd see a player 6'8", 6'9", maybe a 7-footer once in 20 years, but it just seems to me that the person jumping center is like a very tall 6'4" or a very short 6'4", and to get the 6'5", it's almost next to impossible. But you got to be able to compensate, and you got to find a way, and you have. But why do you think your team finds this ability to have to dig out of a hole every time?
Well, why do we get in the hole? Is the first thing I want to figure out. I don't know. Well, we just really, really slow starts. So we got to find a way out of that because, again, we showed against Canfield, once you start slow against a district final team, you're not going to be able to come back. I'm not sure. We have to figure that out. I don't know what it is. I hate that we have to take a punch first before we bounce back. We definitely have to figure that out before it gets too late in the season. But luckily, I think everything that we're doing wrong right now is all correctable. On the opposite side of that is I love the way that they respond when they are down. I hate that they get there, but I do love the way they respond. They have this never die mentality, but I like to have that from the tip rather than once we're down by 15.
So they're going to take on Youngstown Cardinal Mooney coming up tomorrow, and you're going to be at Beaver Local, meaning Canfield will be on taking on Youngstown Cardinal Mooney. You've got Beaver Local on the road. So what have you learned since that first matchup? And obviously, they'd love nothing more than to give you your third loss of the year.
Yeah, I think Beaver Local's playing really good basketball right now. They just knocked off St. C the other night. They just played Buckeye Local. So I think they've won two or three in a row. Owen Hill's great. We have to figure out a way to stop Owen Hill. If we can stop Owen Hill, I think we'll be okay. But Beaver Local plays hard. It's at Beaver Local. They're playing well. It's always a tough atmosphere. That gym should be packed. Hopefully it is tomorrow. But I think we're playing much better than we were the first time we played them at the field house. So I think we'll be okay if we do what we're supposed to do.
Let's talk a little college football. Ohio State moving on. Big win against number 1 Oregon. I mean, this Howard and Smith, a freshman wide receiver. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. before him. So if you're a wideout anywhere in the country.
Wide receiver right now.
Maybe that loss to Michigan was actually a good thing.
Yeah, and that's I feel like that's kind of the same mentality that we've kind of been rolling with, just because they lost, that loss didn't define them, it was regular season, didn't really mean anything. Obviously it means something for bragging rights, but it kind of lit a fire under an Ohio State team that I think was just kind of coasting, and right now they look like the best team in the country. So
speaking of ascending to a Division I program, I was talking to Coach Ackerman about this. Coach Mislin, of course, from South Fayette. Those two teams, Power Bowser and Marnite KDKA. What's your responsibility as a coach to try to get these athletes? Look, Division I, that's a giant leap of faith. Very difficult. Only a chosen few. We had Flores went to Pitt years ago, but I don't know too many who've come from East Liverpool, even during my time behind the mic, and went to play Division I basketball. But you as a coach, whether it is an NAI school or Division III, II, Division I AA, or if you're lucky enough, that Division I school, what's your responsibility as a coach to make that happen?
So obviously, what these guys don't see behind the scenes is I'm trying to get their stats out there everywhere I can. Try to get them all over Max Preps. I just updated everything today, and it does show right now. Cohen Peace is 5th in the state of Ohio in Division IV and 3-point shooting. I think Quentin Conrad's 16th and Nate Birch is 30th. So we got 3 guys in the top 30 3-point shooters. Deshaun Kirby's 5th in the state in blocks. So I'm always obviously trying to push their stats out. But whenever they come to me for advice, my job, in my personal opinion, is just to be honest with them. If it's a D1 or if it's a D3, wherever they're going to give you the money, go. And once these kids make their decision, just support them the whole way. I tell them, I'm not just your coach now. I'll be here with you, until the day you graduate. I'll always be behind you, always pushing you. But even the trade schools, I got a kid who's really interested in a trade school right now, and I'm doing everything I can to help him get scholarships and grants to go to a trade school. If any of them ever need to go on a visit and want to go on a visit and they don't have anyone to take them, I'd be more than gladly, happy to take them. But my goal is just to support these kids and wherever they want to go.
The thing that I think you understand, and your wife obviously helping you out with the official social media page of this basketball team, because the transfer portal and the way things are really happening in collegiate sports now, you have to be your own best friend. You have to promote your program. And that's one of the reasons why he's been so much of a drill sergeant with me to make sure I get down here every week, because you understand this is a key to maybe an opportunity for one of your players. The more faces that are on us,
right,
the opportunity is going to be there for them.
Right. And I mean, I think even with the JUCO rule now, the ruling coming out, I mean, you're going to have a lot of kids that are going to be pouring into this NCAA, portal that we didn't have before. So you're 100% right. With social media the way it is, these kids kind of have to be their own booster, as well as making their highlight tapes and getting them out and posting them and making sure, I can share them on our page as well. But they're going to have to put the time in to make those highlight tapes as well.
All right, so a week from tonight, 6 o'clock, 6:30, live to tape. We're going to be down there at the Vault, and maybe we'll work some of the players in as we move along into the latter part of the season and into the postseason. So anybody wants to come down and hang out with us, that's a week from tonight and every Thursday, my schedule permitting. Hopefully it'll all work out. We only have a handful of weeks left. Hopefully they have a nice run in the postseason, but the regular season, it's going to be over before you know it. So whether you're going to Beaver Local tomorrow, wherever you're going to be, please make sure you make time to watch this basketball team do what they do. Now, the other thing, college football, tragedy, of course, New Orleans. I was on the air for 8 hours yesterday covering that just horrific story. 15 people are dead. Thoughts and prayers to each and every one of them. Actually lost one of my colleagues from the corporate entity that I work with, Odyssey. And again, thoughts and prayers to everyone going through a very difficult time. But they postponed the Sugar Bowl. It's underway right now. Riley Leonard, Notre Dame, of course, Lou Holtz taking on Georgia. So when did you first start hearing about Lou Holtz being from Notre Dame? I mean, being from East Liverpool.
Obviously, I'd say like middle school is when we started really to realize, hey, this guy is as famous as he is. I mean, because whenever you're younger, you don't really understand. But I'd say once we got into middle school, and then once I got into high school, he'd come back a couple of times. Saw him at he actually come to a football practice of ours my freshman year, and then I saw him at a couple golf outings at the Country Club, the East Liverpool Country Club. So I'd say around our middle school, high school age, I started to realize, like, wow, this guy's, big time, and was really, really big time when he was coaching and winning national titles. And he's from our hometown, which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And, every time I drive through town, I drive by the old St. Aloysius Elementary School. I think about the Fighting Irish and how he matriculated to Notre Dame, his best buddy, Frank Dawson, how he was such a small guy growing up in East Liverpool, physically wise, but he turned into really Mount Rushmore college coaches. When you think of Lou Holtz, you think of names like Nick Saban and others, because what he did with Notre Dame, that national championship team, they beat West Virginia. Pretty special time when you had guys like Jimmy Johnson at Miami. So make no mistake about it. No matter how many generations come and go, everybody will remember. He may have been born in Follinsby, but he is a big part of East Liverpool. And that Upper Ohio Valley Hall of Fame is absolutely still one of the most incredible venues anywhere around. And Digger Dawson is the biggest cheerleader when it comes to East Liverpool.
Absolutely. Talking
to Coach Miller, who teaches geometry here, the East Liverpool Education Association, let's just talk about the academics and this school and what those administrators and what those teachers do, Coach.
Yeah, a big part of my interview day one was, them explaining to me and, me reiterating it to them that these kids are student athletes, and the kids know that. They have to be in school on time, or they don't practice. If they're not in school, they don't play. They don't have good grades, they don't play. I'm interacting with their teachers on a weekly basis, always getting updates. Obviously, it helps that Coach Miller's a teacher in the school system. But as well as being good educators, they've also been great supporters. There's not one game that we don't see one or more administrators at our games. Our teachers are always at the games. They're always supporting the kids, and that's been huge. And I think it's starting to show. Last year, East Liverpool graduated their smallest class of all time of 99 kids. And I think this sophomore class has over 200. So the numbers are really, really rising right now.
Let me tell you one thing before we go that, really has been such a shining part of East Liverpool. They still have the Review, the Morning Journal, where I get all my information. Absolutely love those two papers. But one of the things that really has me sad as I was driving through town tonight, it really is tough to not have these games on a local radio station.
Yeah, it is. It's really tough. YSN has been good, but If there's a game that they can't make it to, or if there's a game that the Review or the Morning Journal can't make it to, because there has been a couple home games that they haven't been able to because they're spread so thin. It'd be nice just to have those games broadcasted, and no one better in the business to do it.
Listen, man, I think I got a little game left in me, but I must tell you, I was told many years ago that there was an FM signal somewhere in Chester, Newell, and New Cumberland. It was out there and available if somebody wanted it. And I don't know, but if I ever hit the lottery, here's what we're going to do. We're going to find where that frequency is, and we're going to get some sort of building, maybe the old East Liverpool Review building, which is a great building, a crown jewel.
Yeah.
And we'll light the lamp again. Listen, the internet's cool. I love it. Social media, streaming, I do it all. I'm on the world's first radio station. I get it. I dig it. I love it. But there's nothing like local radio taking you into a gymnasium or a football stadium, that theater of the mind. And when you're driving around the town that station's in, and you tune in and you hear the action of a gymnasium packed and all of the noise that comes with it, and that fresh blanket of snow this time of year, there's nothing better. All right, in closing, Cade Reynolds, this stretch, how important, what are some of the things you need to do?
Yeah, I mean, we got Beaver Local tomorrow night, which is our biggest rival, and then, we get to celebrate the seniors Saturday night. We have senior night here against another rival across the river, Oak Glen. And then we go on a road trip. Wheeling Park, Cardinal Mooney, Weirton, Big Red. I mean, we go away. And then in 3 weeks from now, we're the Buckeye 8 championship, hopefully. So, we're going to handle business hopefully tomorrow night. Give these seniors the senior night they deserve Saturday night, and then we're going to go on the absolute gauntlet of a road trip here the next few weeks. So it's good, though. It's what we need, because obviously the playoff games won't be at home. So we're going to get tested a little bit. We're going to see some better teams coming forward, and hopefully get ready for a good playoff run.
Big Red was always great, but especially when we were down there with Steubenville Central Catholic, St. John Arena. Surely loved that place as well. But Wheeling Park, it may be a road trip, but it's a special place.
Yeah. I'm Wheeling Park's gonna be great. I don't mind going to Big Red. They have a great facility. It's gonna be good. The Buckeye 8 championship has been moved to OU Eastern. The OVAC championship's been moved to OU Eastern. So we're gonna make a couple trips down to St. Clairsville hopefully here in the next couple weeks.
I don't know, but I do remember Sam Andy, who coached at Wheeling Park. He was a tremendous basketball coach. Listen, I have been so fortunate to be around some of the game's best of all time. And one of the reasons why, busy schedule or not, I'm going to try my best to make sure I'm here. Don't forget, next week, live to tape 6:30 at the Vault, is because of young men like him who love the sport of basketball, and more importantly, cultivating young minds and student athletes to make them a better person, not just on the basketball court, but off the court as well. And I got to say, to Casa de Emmanuel, much love, still old world recipes, best plate of pasta anywhere, and the meatballs are second to none. It's your Pratt Pack from the Potter Fieldhouse saying blue and white forever. Potter's Beaver Local tomorrow night. Get a ticket and be there. Good night.